Can you hear me now? It's more than a commercial slogan. It is a communication element that either fails or successfully completes real communication. Good listening skills add so much more to the words and nonverbal communication devices to create an environment of healthy communication. There is nothing so disappointing as speaking to someone about your feelings or information that you have collected and realizing they are not really listening. I would like to cover 4 basic points of good listening skills. First of all, listening and hearing are not the same. Point 2, the offense of not listening. Point 3, the value of listening. And point 4, the clarification of good listening. First of all, listening and hearing are not the same. I would like to cite Understanding Communication, the book by Ronald B. Adler. The process in which sound waves strike the eardrum and cause vibrations that are transmitted to the brain is hearing. Listening occurs only when the brain constructs these electrochemical impulses into a representation of the original sound, then gives them true meaning. If we were to play in this room a piece of music, some would hear words, some would hear the music, some would like it, some would not, and to others it would actually be offensive. Point number 2, the offense of not listening. Sam Mahaffey gives an example of the importance of good listening skills to what another person is trying to communicate in his book, Every Man's a Mentor. He explains how one day coming home from a hard day at the job, his wife began to communicate. At the end of her statements, she asked the question, "Did you hear anything I just said?" There is nothing quite as rude as pouring out your heart to another person when you find the receiver simply shows a lack of concern for the sender's message. As a pastor, we sometimes hear the same story repeated over and over again from someone needing counseling. However, I would like to point out it's never right to say we've covered this already. Point number 3, the value of listening. I would like to use Sam Mahaffey's book again. When he speaks of a young man he mentored on how good listening skills added to his ability to fulfill the role of a good listener and a good mentor. After discussion about sports and likes and dislikes, Sam got a response from this young man. I would like to quote, "He looks at me and said, 'I have needed someone to listen to me for a long time.'" I pause to let us think how important that really is. Robert Fisher, in his book, Quick to Listen, Slow to Speak, quotes the book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 3. "He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches." You see, a good listener can be more than a receiver of information. When the skillful listener gives an ear to hear the heart of another, the information can then be processed and evaluated to help the sender and even clarify an audience of the authenticity of the information. Point number 4, the clarification of listening. If you've ever been to a Church of God General Assembly, there is one phrase which gets truly overused. Point of order. It seems this statement is said more than any other and actually can be very annoying to the speaker trying to make a point. In the 10th edition of Robert's Rules of Order, it is explained, if a question of order is to be raised, it must be raised promptly at the time the breach occurs. He then explains, if not, the members should be silent about the breach. Good listening skills add much to the words and nonverbal communication devices to create an environment of healthy communication. I would like to reiterate the 4 points. Listening and hearing are not the same. The offense of not listening, the value of listening, and the clarification of good listening. I hope that each of us will understand not only the difference between hearing and actually listening to the sender, but as well the value of listening as a tool to help another and establish good communication.